Welcome back to the Enfield Talking Newspaper. Now we return to local news with Janet.
Families joined together to learn embroidery skills as part of a National Craft Day. The free event was hosted by the Enfield and District Embroiderers Guild to celebrate the Big Stitch and encourage more people to pick up a needle and thread. People came from as far away as St John's Wood for the event at 40 Hall, Enfield, which included demonstrations of basic embroidery skills. Alisa Bolger, who runs several classes for the Enfield Guild, said, "For us it is a great way to introduce people to embroidery and the kind of things we do. A lot of people think embroidery is just cross-stitching, but there's so much more to it. We have so many different things going on, and we have junior embroiders and a textile student group, helping them with their art projects for school." David Hogarth from Neighbour Care, St John's Wood, whose group attended the event, said, "I'd wanted to bring our group to 40 Hall, and I thought this event was perfect. I think it's a great place for our members, and they've really enjoyed it." The Enfield Guild currently has 46 members and regularly carries out group projects, including creating an embroidered portrait of Elizabeth I, with each member crafting a postcard-sized section. The Enfield and District Embroidery Guild is part of the National Guild, has been running in the borough since 1982. It runs events throughout the year with weekly talks and demonstrations, tutorials and organised exhibitions. The event was the first Big Stitch organised by the embroiderers after the national scheme first started last year.
A 9-year-old street dancer has won the second heat of this year's Edmonton's Got Talent. Kai Leaf from Enfield impressed judges with his solo moves after competing last year as part of dance group Cerebro Dance. He will now take his place in the final alongside Heat 1 winner Davis Elicki. Edmonton's Warren Murray combined ballet, hip-hop, street and body popping for a dance performance that earned him second place. Meanwhile, Minnie Ibrahim, 13, was the first ever violinist to enter the competition, and she wowed the judges with her musicality and poise to come third. Other notable performances in the competition, supported by the Enfield Independent, came from dance group The Surge, family trio Boys 046, and 14-year-old singer Carlissa Reese, who sang Bruno Mars' hit When I Was Your Man. Edmonton Green Centre manager Roger Allen said, "I would like to say a huge thank you to our sponsors who have made the competition even more exciting this year with 3 cash places each week. It's proving to be an unforgettable summer at Edmonton Green. I'm looking forward to seeing more amazing performances over the coming weeks."
Algae that can kill fish and other wildlife was found floating in a pond. Enfield Borough Council has now removed the green algae from the New River Loop in Gentleman's Row, Enfield Town, after a series of complaints from ramblers. It is believed the hot weather caused the borough's waterways to suffer from a surge in the growth of the algae, also known as duckweed. Park staff created pontoons made out of discarded timber pallets, wrapped in a fine net, and floated them down the river to push the weed towards staff with catch nets. The recovered duckweed will be composted and used to nourish the soil in Enfield's parks at a later date. If left untreated or killed with chemicals, the dying weed in the shallow river would draw oxygen from the water and potentially be harmful to the fish. Councillor Chris Bond, Cabinet Member for the Environment, said, "Although naturally occurring, this algae is unsightly and we often get complaints about its forming. We have used many different methods to try and reduce or remove it. This latest method is completely natural, quick and easy, but seems to be doing the trick. We aim to remove as much as we can to keep the water clearer and benefit the fish and other wildlife that live in the water. It's a great example of our park staff finding an effective, cheap solution to a problem that's dogged us for a while. And if we can use this technique elsewhere in the borough, we'll certainly consider it.
Enfield-born Alison Waters says the silver and bronze medals won in the mixed doubles and women's doubles squash at the Commonwealth Games are the pinnacle of her career. Having missed out on the medals in the singles competition, Waters took silver in the mixed doubles with partner Peter Barker on Sunday, just 24 hours after winning bronze with Emma Beddoes in the women's doubles competition. Waters was competing at her third Commonwealth Games and said of her double medal win, "To get the bronze and the silver was great, and for squash the Commonwealth are the pinnacle of our careers, so I'm really delighted." Whilst the singles did not go to plan for Waters this year, the competition was a success for Team England. I was obviously disappointed to have not got a medal in the singles. Coming fourth is not the best position to come, but overall I'm pleased because we got the silver and bronze in the doubles, so we're really pleased with how that week went, said Waters. As a whole, England did really well, especially the squash team. We got our best medal haul. We had a great reception in Glasgow. There were loads of people watching, which was really good for the sport because we got loads of publicity. Waters and partner Beddoes beat Australian pair Casey Brown and Rachel Grinham 2-0 on Saturday to seal bronze, having lost to England teammates Jenny Duncalf and Massaro in just 24 hours before. And the following day, Waters was able to build on her bronze medal by scooping silver, despite a 2-0 defeat against Australian pair David Palmer and Grinham in the mixed doubles final. England came out on top in the squash with 9 medals, 1 gold, 5 silvers and a bronze, and Waters said the squash team had been confident from the outset. We knew going into it we had a good chance in every event, but obviously we didn't get gold, but we had men in the final, women in the final and the mixed final, so we had chances, and we came away with a good amount of medals, so a little bit of success for England was great.
Bit more news of our Commonwealth success for the local girls. Bianca Williams enjoyed a Commonwealth Games to remember as she collected 2 bronze medals in Glasgow. The sprinter from Enfield and Haringey Athletic Club firstly upset the odds by finishing a surprise third in the women's 200 metres, and she followed this up by securing another medal 2 days later when she ran the second leg for England in the 4x100 relay. William had impressed in qualifying for the final of the individual event, but she was still considered an outsider for a medal. However, she produced the best run of her career at Hampden Park as she set a new personal best of 22.58 seconds to claim a place on the podium behind double sprint champion Blessing Ugabi and England teammate Nadia Williams. "I'm absolutely gobsmacked," she said. "I couldn't have asked for any more. It's been such a journey over the past 4 years to get me here. And before the season, the Commonwealth Games wasn't even on the list. To come 6th in the 100 metres and 3rd here is amazing. This is just the start. We beat the Jamaicans, which is a massive thing. Everyone is so quick to write off the British women sprinters, but we've come out and started to show that we can perform on this stage with a strong field."
A mother who has been campaigning for a public inquiry into the forgotten thalidomide pregnancy testing drug Primados is calling on people to sign an online petition. The petition, set up on public lobbying site 38 Degrees, is calling on Health Secretary Jeremy Hunt to sanction a debate in the House of Commons to discuss the incontrovertible evidence that the Committee on Safety of Medicines was negligent in protecting the health of our unborn babies. The petition was set up by Marie Lyon, chairwoman of the Association for Children Damaged by Hormone Pregnancy Testing, and is being supported by Chris Gooch of Carnarvon Avenue, Enfield. Her daughter Emma was born with partially formed fingers and toes in 1971 after Ms. Gooch was given the drug by her doctor as a pregnancy test. The campaigners are lobbying the government for a full public inquiry into why women were given the hormone testing drug, which contains the same hormones that are used in the contraceptive pill, but at higher concentrations. Urging people to sign the petition, Miss Gooch told the Advertiser, "A lot of people ask why there is such concern considering the drug is off the market now, but people are still suffering and we want the truth. We want the government and the drug companies to tell us the truth. That is all we are asking for, the truth." A spokeswoman for manufacturers Bayer told this newspaper, "Bayer denies that Primados was responsible for causing any deformities in children. Since the discontinuation of legal action in England in 1982, no new scientific knowledge has been produced which would call into question the validity of the previous assessment of there being no link between use of Primados and the occurrence of congenital abnormalities. The petition can be accessed at www.u.38degrees.org.uk/petitions/expose cover-up of hormone pregnancy tests.
Protesters who have been squatting on the site of a former university campus are due to learn their fate soon. The squatters have occupied the site of the ex-Middlesex University site in Cat Hill, Cockfosters, since April in defiance of developer London and Quadrant. They have been hoping their presence would save wildlife on the site, including bats and newts. They were served with legal papers ordering them to clear the site, and they are due to appear at Barnet Magistrates Court in Regent's Park Road, Finchley. The protesters appeared before magistrates in May after L&Q sought a possession order, but at that stage they convinced Deputy District Judge Kenneth Arnold to delay a decision. Although the protesters anticipate that legal papers will be delivered to them later this month and that they expect their court case to be heard in September, they said they were prepared to answer the case for continued occupation of the site. The eco-warriors who were involved in saving Friern Barnet Library from closure in 2012 joined forces with a residents' protest against the development of 231 homes on the site earlier this year. The campaigners have maintained that untold damage is being done to the habitat of great crested newts, which breed in a pond on the site, and they claim that the trees being felled in order to build the housing could decimate the local bat population. Resident Kim Coleman, who has followed the squatters' legal case, said that their presence on an undisclosed section of the Cat Hill site had halted some of the developers' progress. She added, since the activists protested about ancient trees being felled, which put the bat population at risk, there have been no further attempts to clear trees from the site.
Gary McKinnon's mother has said her son is very down after being warned by his lawyers not to visit his ill father in Scotland, as he could be extradited to the United States from there. Mr. McKinnon, formerly of Palmer's Green, who is wanted by the American authorities after hacking into almost 100 US military computers more than a decade ago, desperately wants to visit his dad Charlie, who is in hospital in Glasgow recovering from a stroke. But he has been warned off travelling to Scotland by his lawyers, who fear the US authorities may request the Scottish government to arrest and extradite him. Mr. McKinnon faced up to 60 years in a US jail after admitting hacking into the computers between February 2001 and March 2002. However, in October 2012, following an 11-year campaign led by his mother Janice Sharp, Home Secretary Theresa May withdrew the extradition order due to the risk that Mr McKinnon, who suffers from Asperger's syndrome, would take his life in an American prison. But the extradition ruling applies only in England and Wales. Ms Sharp of Potter's Bar told the Advertiser, "Gary is obviously very down because he wants to be with his dad, but the Americans weren't happy with the decision, so they could be waiting for an opportunity. It's just not worth the risk after an 11-year campaign." Karen Todner, Mr McKinnon's lawyer, added, "Scotland has a separate legal jurisdiction, so may not consider itself bound by the decision of the Home Secretary not to extradite Gary. Unless he receives a categorical assurance that he won't be extradited, then my advice is that he should not travel outside of England and Wales." A Scottish Government spokeswoman said that any diversion from Mrs May's judgment would be unlikely. She said, "While we do not comment on individual cases, there's no reason to suppose that anyone for whom extradition was refused in the rest of the UK would necessarily see it granted in Scotland. Scottish ministers also have no power to act in contravention of the European Convention on Human Rights." Mr McKinnon has always maintained that his hacking was a manifestation of his lifelong obsession with UFOs. Since the extradition order was withdrawn, he's been trying to rebuild his life and has launched Small SEO, a company which helps businesses to get mentioned in internet search results.
A late-night party venue in Edmonton could be shut down for good after a reveller was shot and another stabbed there last month. Police officers from Enfield are appearing in front of the council's licensing subcommittee this morning in a bid to force the closure of the Golden Palace banqueting suite in Harbert Road after what they term was a night of wholly unacceptable levels of serious violence, disorder and threatening behaviour. In the report submitted to the subcommittee before the meeting at Enfield Civic Centre in Silver Street, police officers revealed that they were aware that rival gang members from notorious Tottenham's gangs, the Farm Boys and the MPK, were regulars at the dance venue, and that tensions between them had been escalating for some months. Then, on Saturday, July the 12th, chaos erupted in the venue when one man was shot in the stomach and another was stabbed in the chest and stomach. According to the report, no calls were made to police by management, staff or security regarding the matter. When the police arrived at the scene at 6:20 a.m, 3 hours after the scheduled 3 a.m. closing time, they discovered about 50 people were still inside the building and a large crowd gathered outside. After asking to view the venue's CCTV footage, officers discovered that the camera system was not working and had not been working for some time. PC Fisher adds that the crime scene appeared to have been cleared up by the staff before the arrival of police, albeit apparently quite innocently. Stressing that police feel the club will attract further violent gang crime, he says, "I'm of the opinion that if licence for this venue is not suspended, further incidents of a similar nature are likely to take place as a way of revenge."
A primary school has invited parents to come back to school to learn vital skills. Honeylands Primary School in Lovell Road, Enfield Wash, is celebrating the launch of its parent college. The school offers courses to help parents with young children, such as economics, computer skills and cooking classes. The blueprint comes from a scheme dating back to the 1970s and early 1980s in Harlem, New York, which offered similar classes to help parents develop socially and economically. Head teacher Ralph Silverman said, "Honeylands Parent College is one of the most exciting recent developments in our school calendar because it allows members of the local community to select their own learning opportunities through a series of courses that will run over the year. We have decided to do this because we have realised that in order to deal with some of the challenges families in our local area face, we need to be proactive. Our community cohesion has always been at the heart of our school ethos, and it's shared equally by our staff and our governing body. Honeylands Parent College is the next step up in our long-term vision. The school has launched its own prospectus for the college and is appealing for parents to sign up.
Manager Paul Norris is optimistic that his new-look Enfield 1893 side will make a positive start when the Essex Senior League gets underway. Norris took charge of the E's earlier in the summer when increased work commitments forced Luke Giddings to stand down, and he has had to rebuild the squad following the departure of a number of key players. However, the manager remains upbeat about their prospects and is looking forward to the action getting underway. We've had a bigger turnover of players than I would have liked, he said. We've probably lost about 2/3 of what we had last season, and I'd say that we are in an okay position at the moment. We have picked up some good players, but there are certain areas where we are a bit weaker than I would like us to be. It would be good if we could bring in another couple of bodies in midfield. I do think that we've got a squad which is likely to be competitive from the start of the season, and everyone is looking forward to Saturday. You always want to get off to a good start, and it would be nice to get some positive results early on to give us something to build on. Enfield 1893 begin their campaign by hosting a Stansted side who, like them, are currently in transition. Stansted have had a bit of change of players of the summer, Norris added. It's probably going to be a match between two teams who need a bit of time to gel, but I believe we can get a good result on Saturday.
Children are taking part in a 4-week course to create their own murals. Taking place at Enfield Town Library in Church Street, the artists, aged between 8 and 11 years old, are creating wall paintings about the life of a tree. Illustrator and author Jane Ray will lead groups of up to 10 children over 4 mornings each week. Ms. Ray said, "The children will learn a great deal as they explore. They will be finding out about birds, insects and squirrels that inhabit trees, learning about the leaves and blossom, looking at the shapes and network of branches as the seasons change. I'm looking forward to meeting the children and getting the work organised." The project is funded by a grant from the Arts Council. Ms. Ray added, "We aim to recreate the subtlety of colours that we see in the changing leaves as the seasons pass, and we'll be using sparkling materials, gold and silver, to give a jewel-like quality to the murals, showing how our seasons can shimmer and shiver." Councillor Aoife Orhan, Enfield Borough Council's Cabinet Member for Education, Children's Services, Protection and Libraries, said, "What a brilliant project. The 4 murals will be a constant reminder that Enfield is a borough with hundreds of beautiful trees, and over the 4 weeks the children will learn so much from the research they will be doing. We shall have an unveiling in October when the murals have been positioned in the children's library. They will add interest to the library and show how much can be achieved."
A Palmer's Green school has become the first school to win an award for outstanding teaching of religious education. First Farm School in Rayleigh Road was given the Quality Mark Award for its teaching, planning and projects by the National Association of Standing Advisory Councils on Religious Education. Children at the school were taken on a number of trips to different religious venues across the borough. Enfield Borough Council's Cabinet Member for Education said, "Our schools work really hard to give children a good and varied education. It's fantastic to see the dedication and hard work of teachers and pupils recognised. Enfield is a rich and diverse borough where people from a wide range of cultures, races and backgrounds live. It's important to give our children an overview of many different religions so we can break down barriers between our communities and foster a spirit of understanding and harmony amongst all our residents. This is the 4th award the school has received for teaching after winning awards in physical education, science and inclusion.
People with learning disabilities held their own special Olympic tournament as part of a scheme to get them involved in sport. 1-1 Enfield held a football match at the Southbury Leisure Centre in Southbury Road, Enfield, in association with Special Olympics Great Britain. Part of the Unified Sports Initiative, it enables people of all ages with learning disabilities to practice and play together on the same teams as people of all ages. Edmonton MP Andy Love was invited to the event to present winners with medals. He said, "Nearly 2 years has passed since the Paralympics were held in London, so it's great to see the momentum to make sport inclusive continuing here on our doorstep in Enfield. 1-1 plays a vitally important role in helping local residents with learning difficulties take part in all aspects of community life. Sport is one of those things that has the power to bring people together. The enjoyment of all players at the football tournament was palpable."
A series of arrests have been made in a bid to crack down on neighbourhood crime. Operation Big Wing resulting in 14 arrests in the borough in the latest day of action from the Metropolitan Police. The crackdown targeted crimes such as violence with injury, theft, burglary, theft of a motor vehicle, theft from a motor vehicle and criminal damage. So far, Operation Big Wing has arrested 689 people in its latest action day across all 32 boroughs. Enfield Borough Commander Chief Inspector Jane Johnson said, "The impressive results from Operation Big Wing demonstrate our unwavering commitment to driving down crime and its generators in the borough. We are here to serve the public, and our 14 arrests across the borough will act as a warning to those intent on breaking the law and engaging in criminal activity that we will do everything we can to stop them, and wherever possible put them before the courts to make London safer for our communities."
We've reached the end of our programme for this week. Thank you for listening. So from the team of Sally, Colin, Janet, Keith and Robin on the controls, it's goodbye. Bye.